Hello everybody, we're back with the final test game. So this is called the Test Final Revelation. Hopefully the sound isn't too loud. Normally I would start on the main menu and then go into the game, but the menu music was actually like painful to listen to. Like it was just it was awful. I don't know whether it's the intention to make it bad, to make you feel uncomfortable or whatever, but if it was intentional, they definitely succeeded. If it was not intentional, and somebody from the game ever sees this, please change the music. It's bad. So we're pretty much going to get right into it. Depending on how long this game is, we might play something else after too, but we'll see how we go. So, I don't really see any reason to delay. Is this the quiz game? Yes, it's the final part of the of that series, the test. So I'll obviously read everything out, and hopefully the sound effects quiet down a little bit. Alright, before experiencing the test final revelation, it's highly recommended that you play its prequels, the test and the test hypothesis rising, without a second quotation mark, by the way, first before entering into this experience. You'll stand to gain a lot more if you play the first two titles, and this examination will make a bit more sense as it carries on from where the last examinations left off. I'd like to urge you to play the test, followed by the test hypothesis rising now, before venturing forward, and follow the instructions listed throughout the game, so you'll get a bigger benefit overall by taking the tests in the order they were meant to be taken in. I've done that. You will not get a chance to exit the game until the experience is over if you choose to continue now. I mean, I could just close the game whenever, right? Or are they going to tell me I can't? I have already played the game, so there's no problem. Well then, let us continue. Please make sure that you answer each question with the utmost honesty and you take your time to answer the questions presented. Even answering one question improperly may drastically change your outcome. You cannot go back to answer questions you misanswered, so be sure to take your time. This is of the utmost importance. Ooh. Real shit. Oh, this is different. When the sun comes crashing down and heroes fade away, when darkness is all around and there's no light of day. Is this a song lyric? I will come back for you, so that you never feel alone. My spirit will push through. Your heart will forever be my home. And when the world spirals into the abyss, I will be standing there. Your embrace, so long I've missed. My soul, my love, I bear. And when every nerve has been deadened and every ghost has left its shell, I will bring you back to your heaven, and you've rescued me from my hell. Okay. About an hour? Yeah, that's what I was expecting. That was the one last week was about 45 minutes. The first one, it took me about an hour and a half. So they're all been around an hour long. Right, here we go. Oh, okay. We got some narrative. No matter what happens, I will always love you. Do you promise? Oh, this was the character from the first game. They didn't have a name back then. So, choice, fate, and destiny. With every ounce of my heart and each droplet of my soul, I swear to you. So, like, it's always a big question, like, what's the difference between fate and destiny? I feel like fate has, like, negative connotations, right? Like, if something's fated to happen, it's like, you know, you're fated to die. But if it's, like, your destiny, it's usually something good, right? That's just my interpretation of those words. We are going to find a way out of here. Fate is basically guaranteed. Destiny is kind of fated. Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like fate is generally a more negative term than destiny. Oh, speaking of, the person's name is Destiny here. I wasn't expecting you so soon. Though I knew that one day we would meet in this room. You see, closely I've been watching you. Studying every breath and every move. Is this like a reference to the song? Every breath you take, every move you make, every smile you break. I'll be watching you. A few of my former colleagues you may have met. And a slew of questions you've answered without regret. Why is this guy rhyming? I may be similar, but unlike them still. I'll make you swallow the truth like a bitter pill. I will peel the emotion from your soul and make you eat your feelings whole. The questions I ask may be hard to answer, but I will cut the truth from you like a cancer. Both of us know why you're here, To open up and cast out fear. To be as honest as you can. To take angel's wing or devil's hand. And in the end, we both will know. How to escape your undertow. What does that mean? What is undertow? And I gotta read what this word is. Define the toe. A current of water below the surface and moving in a different direction from a surface current. Huh? Okay. I'll take your word for it, brother. Time is on your side, but mistakes are not. Misanswered questions lead to misery rot. Take time to think before you decide. Dig deep for answers that live inside. You may not go back, you may not return. Once a decision is made, into your soul 'tis burned. Before we continue, just know this. The dishonesty would be very remiss. If your answers lack the guidance of truth, then your final destination will be rather uncouth. Oh. So with that being said, I need your heart's honesty. You can run from yourself, but you can't run from me. Oh, I like that. Now, let the examination begin. You're hungry? Then you should eat. Do you ever feel like you just aren't good enough? I feel like everybody feels this at some point. Like, is there anybody who can genuinely say they've never felt like they're not good enough? Like, I feel like everybody at some point has had the feeling like, man, I'm worthless, or I'm, like, not good. Yes. Do you ever feel like you put more effort into friends or relationships than others put back into you? So, like, a lot of the questions they ask are quite tricky, because it's, do I ever feel that way? Yes, I do feel that way. Is it often? Not really. But do I ever feel that way? Yes, I do. Do you ever feel like your life is going nowhere? That's a really good question. Going nowhere. Do I ever feel like hopeless? Yeah. Do I ever feel like I'm stuck? Yeah. Do I ever feel like a plastic bag? Yes. Do I ever feel like my life is going nowhere? Yeah, I think so. Do you ever feel like you're trapped in limbo? No, that's like a very specific feeling. I feel like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I just didn't sleep very well last night, that's all. Do I feel like I'm trapped in limbo? I feel like that's a very specific feeling. Like, I mean, is this question literal or not? Because limbo as a concept it's the place between our reality and hell. That's what limbo is. Limbo is that gap. But it also just means like being stuck. So which question are they asking? I'm gonna assume that they mean limbo as in like the actual concept of limbo, and in that case, I do not feel that way. It's like an infinite loop. Yeah, limbo is just like this like endless space. Basically, it's not good. It's not bad. It's just empty, right? Do you ever feel overwhelmed by seemingly trivial tasks? Yes, just VTubing stuff. Are you sometimes afraid of what your future may hold? I don't know, like... Am I afraid of what my future may hold? I'm, like, curious what my future may hold. I wonder what my future may hold. Am I afraid of it? I don't know if I'm afraid of it. So the new generations of kids. You're part of the new generation of kids, Mo. Don't forget that. Sure, I'll say yes to this. Do you believe that your friends always treat you the way you deserve to be treated? I feel like nobody can ever answer yes to this. Like, always treat you the way. There's definitely times when your friends let you down, right? There's always times when people let you down, so... No, not always. Are you afraid of being the last person alive in your social circle? I wouldn't say so. Like... It could happen. It might not happen. But it could happen. But I don't think I'm afraid of it. Are you afraid of the existence of an afterlife and what that might mean for you? Am I afraid of it? I wouldn't say I'm afraid. I don't necessarily know what it might hold for me, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily afraid. I guess there's some level of anxiety, right? So I'll go yes. Do you feel as though you're wanted in life? Wanted like in GTA or or what? Like I got a 3-star wanted level, the cops are after me, they're sending the helicopters. It's a weird question. Do I ever feel like do I feel as though I'm wanted in life? Like wanted. Like obviously that's not what they mean. They don't mean like, you know, you're there's a warrant out for your arrest or something like that, right? They're saying, do you feel like people actually want you or care about you? I'd say so, yeah. Do you ever feel like you just don't belong? Absolutely. Like, even with people that I'm really close to, sometimes I feel like, man, hey, Misha, it's been forever. Goodness me, how you doing? I hope you've been well. It's been months, I feel like. I don't know if enough have spoken to you this year. Hopefully you're doing well. We're just answering some questions today. I absolutely do feel like I don't belong sometimes. Do I feel like a burden? Yes, absolutely. Especially when I was younger. When I was really young. This is going a bit deep, maybe. It's been 10,000 years, yeah. I feel that. But hopefully, you're alright, that's good. Especially when I was a kid, I would definitely feel this. Like, now I still feel like somewhat of a burden, but it's very rare. But definitely when I was younger, absolutely. I was like, man, people would be so much better off if I wasn't around. Have you ever felt left out? Yes, like, almost every other day, I feel like, unfortunately. Have you ever felt like a failure? Goodness me. Now, there's a big question. Yeah, hopefully, everything keeps being okay, Mishan. Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome. I'll chuck you a link to the Discord. Maybe you'd want to hang out there at some point. Have I ever felt like a failure? Absolutely, like, quite often, as a matter of fact. Hey, Brando, how you doing? I feel like every time I let somebody down that I'm a failure. Even sometimes, like, with streams, like, I feel like a failure. It's like, man, that stream was shit. You know? Like, literally the stream last week that I did of the test 2, I had to keep getting taken, like, away from the computer because of, like, people IRL needed me to do stuff. And I just felt like, man, I'm putting on such a shit show for my viewers, like... So yeah, absolutely, I do feel like a failure sometimes. Trying to get your life back together. In midstream, I watch you streams. Trying to get, hey, that's the main thing. Just take it a day at a time, Misha, yeah? That's all that you can do. Just take it a day at a time, ease back into things, and it'll all come back together, I promise. Test 2 was good. I really like Test 2, especially the Would You Rather stuff. That was interesting. Have I ever felt like you just weren't attractive enough? To be honest, in terms of, like, IRL, I've only ever had, like... I can count on one hand the number of people who've shown any degree of interest in me IRL. About the stream? Oh, nah. I can count on one hand the number of people that have shown, like, genuine, like, interest in me in that way. So have I ever felt like I wasn't attractive enough? Absolutely. Like, even regularly now, like... Yeah, I won't go too far into it. I'm a handsome cat, yes. Have you ever worked yourself sick? I'd say so, actually. So, in my work at the coal mines, I have to speak a lot, and sometimes you have to yell so that people hear you, right? And honestly, I'm still sort of recovering from, like, straining my throat. So my voice probably still sounds a bit rough. It's because I just have to yell sometimes. It's like, I work at a coal mine, yes I do. It's part of my law. Have you ever had racing thoughts at night that make it difficult for you to get to sleep? Absolutely. I feel like this happens to everybody. You just like... It's like you lie down to go to sleep and your brain's like, alright, it's time to play the, you know, best hits. Your, like, most humiliating and worst moments in the past, you know, 20 years or whatever, however long you've been alive for, right? Yeah, so... Like, it's weird, like, whenever I go to bed... Whenever I go to sleep nowadays, especially fairly recently, I don't, like, consciously fall asleep. Let me explain what I mean. So, like, I'm in bed, I'm lying there, maybe I'm, like, playing on my phone or texting somebody, DMing somebody, whatever. Sending Discord messages, whatever. And the next thing that I know, I like wake up or I'm dreaming. Like I don't recall the moment when I fall asleep. It's weird. I don't know if this happens to anybody else. Like it used to be I felt like, you know, my eyes would close and then like I'd doze off, right? But nowadays I just feel like it's like a snap. It's like somehow I fell asleep. It's strange. But yes, I do sometimes have thoughts that help me make it difficult to sleep. You're afraid to ask for help. Yes. I hate asking for help. If I can avoid asking for help, I will do that at almost any cost. I would almost rather muck something up than ask somebody for help. Like, I would almost rather make a mistake and ruin something than ask for help. I feel like people often criticize you. I feel like it's the opposite. Everyone's like way too nice to me. I feel like they're like holding back everything that they want to say, that they want to actually say. Like that's in IRL and also with streaming and stuff. Like people say, "Oh, you're really great," whatever else. It's like, well, I don't feel that way. So like, what do you actually think? You know? I feel like people don't actually criticize me enough, to be honest. Do you ever feel judged by your friends or family? Family, especially, yeah. About some of my decisions in life and stuff like that. Do you ever wonder what your purpose is in life? Yes. I feel like I've answered yes to almost any question. If you could turn back time for any reason, would you? Now, this is a really good question. There's like the obvious answer now, where you turn back time, you know, 10 years ago or whatever, buy Bitcoin when it was like $1, and then sell it when it's like 30k, and you can make huge amounts of money. So yeah, I would. I would love to be like a multi-millionaire. You say you have many regrets in life. I wouldn't say I have many regrets in life. I have a few very big regrets. But I wouldn't say that I have many regrets. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like saying I have many regrets means that, like, every day I do something that I regret. I feel like I tend to get over stuff pretty quickly. Like, it gets me really down at the time. But I tend to get over it pretty quick. I wouldn't say I have many regrets, no. Does meeting new people for the first time make you uncomfortable? Absolutely. Like, the first time that I meet somebody, or like the first time that I talk to somebody, even if we're talking about like the VTubing sphere, it always feels a little bit shaky. Like, I'm not sure what to think or what to say. So yeah. Does looking out your window at night make you feel uneasy? Shit, this is like penetrating like my deepest insecurities right now. So this question's kind of not necessarily applicable to my situation right now, because I have like shutters on my window so that, you know, if people can't see my magic experiments, right? So like, I can't actually look out my window at night because I closed them. But I feel like if, let's say, I was on like the ground floor and I could look out my window at night and see whatever the hell was going on, that would make me like scared as shit. So yes. Oh, absolutely. This is one of my like biggest like compulsions. I always check that I've like locked something. Even if I'm 100% certain, even if I remember that I've locked it, I will always, always, always check again. Sometimes even again. And this goes with like saving in video games, right? Like, let's say I'm playing Pokemon, which I might play some Pokemon later, right? When I'm about to close the game, like, I'll save. And then even if I know I saved, I'll be like, should probably save again just to be safe. I'm the type of person that always wants to check this shit again and again. Absolutely. You ever feel like life is moving too slow? Absolutely not. It's the opposite. It's going way too fast. We're already 3 months into the year. It feels like it just started like 2 weeks ago. But no, it's not moving too slow. Yes. There you go. There's the... You feel uncomfortable when you're home alone. Like, the year is, like, we're coming up to the year being a quarter over already, if you want to put that into perspective. I don't think I feel uncomfortable when I'm home alone. Would you consider yourself to be a thoughtful person? What does this mean? What does being a thoughtful person mean? Does it mean you're full of thoughts? You think of others? Hang on, let me define thoughtfulness. Thoughtful just means absorbed in or involving thought. Okay, how about thoughtfulness? The state of being absorbed in thought. I mean, I think a lot. I guess that's what it's asking, right? So then my answer would be yes. superficial. Superficial means you're obsessed with like physical details or appearance and stuff like that. I'm not. You ever judge others by the way they look or dress? Yeah, so here's the thing. It's again like that qualifier. Do I ever do that? I try not to. But there are some times when like, you know, I have and I sometimes will. Like it's very rare. Like I remember one time when I was studying, there was this person in my course that had like they drew like a pentagram on their forehead. You can't like help you can't not you can't help but wait, what am I saying? Like they literally like drew a pentagram on their forehead when they're like coming to classes and stuff like that. It's like it's hard not to judge somebody like that. As much as I hate to admit it, like so I have. I try not to though. High maintenance, absolutely not. Have you ever been bullied by someone you cared about? Yes. It's happened a few times, but yeah. Have you ever been a bully to someone you care about? I feel like I've definitely hurt people. Yeah, I think I have. You try to keep a low profile to avoid attention from others in a crowded area. This is like one of my things. I try and avoid being seen if I can help it. But I try and avoid busy places, absolutely. Would you sometimes rather be alone than surrounded by the people you care about? Yes. Making phone calls make you feel uncomfortable, yes. Are you afraid to confront people if they do something that bothers you? Yes. Why is this... Why is this, like, going so deep into my soul? You're uncomfortable when committing to definitive plans for the future. I'm the opposite. I really like definitive plans. So, no. Do you feel like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to stay motivated? No, I don't think so. I think in the long term, I am motivated. There's definitely bursts of procrastination and short-term periods of demotivation. But I feel like overall, I can always get back on the horse, no matter what. So I'd say no. Do you ever feel like you're failing those who care about you the most? Yeah, quite a lot. Quite a lot. Does driving a vehicle give you anxiety? Yes. You're afraid of exploring new places by yourself? In general, I don't like going places. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of exploring new places. Have you ever carried an object around with you that made you feel more comfortable? The questions in this one are definitely deeper than the others, or at least they're more pertinent to me. They're more relevant to me. So, like, I think it's asking like about like a safety blanket type thing. I don't think I've ever had something like that. If I told you I could guess your name correctly right now, would you believe me? I swear to God, if this like reads like the computer files and says like, "Hey, is your name, you know, Joe Blow?" I read this from your computer files, by the way. I'll actually be really pissed if they do that. I wouldn't believe you. You better not dox me, bro. Based on the answer you provided for me so far. I want to take a guess. No. It starts with the letter M. Okay, it actually doesn't. So, no, it doesn't. That makes sense. What do you mean it makes sense? Let's be real, there's literally no way I'd be able to guess your name just by your answers. That would be ridiculous. Besides, all you humans look alike to me. Anyhow. Does being around animals bring you a sense of peace? Yes, it does. Especially dogs and cats. Oh, wow. Okay. You sometimes believe your loved ones are lying to you when they say you care. Now, this question is... It's worded in a very particular way. It's not saying, do you think, or are they lying to you? It's asking, do you believe it? And it's sometimes. Do you sometimes believe it? It's not saying you believe it all the time. It's not saying that you genuinely do think that they are lying to you. But do I sometimes believe it? I would say yes. Hey, Maya and Azure, you guys joined in at the same time. Hello. Do you ever feel like you push your loved ones away? Yeah, I do. I have a bad habit of doing this. Silence. I'm gonna have to stop you here. What the fuck? Truth that pours forth is no way this is the end. I hope that you're being honest for your own health. You can try to lie, but you'll be cheating yourself. I'd like to move on. Oh, no, it's just the next phase of the test. Okay. A series of pictures to give your brain a rest? Okay, this is interesting. What emotional response the pictures bring out? Okay, okay. It's a Rorschach test, which will show me what your mind is pondering about. So feast your eyes upon the art, and let me into that precious heart. For starters, what emotion do you feel most present in this picture? This just, I'd say chaos. Like it's not an angry picture. It's not a sad picture. It's not a happy picture. It's definitely not numb. There's a feeling there. I wouldn't say this is relaxing. This is very chaotic to me. What word describes this picture best? I do get broken from this. Like, it looks like broken panes of glass, but I think chaotic is probably the best one. What I think this is called. Oh, this is interesting. I mean, I did think of the vision of crystals, so yeah. Chaotic crystals. Very interesting. Moving on. What emotion do you feel is most present in this picture? It's not anger. It's not joy. It's not chaos. Relaxation? It's kind of like, just like waves, right? Like flowing waves. It's not a sad picture. It's not blue enough. It's more green. I'd say it's pretty relaxing. What word best describes it? I don't think any of these words describe this. What the f... Stuck, abyss, toxic, demented, life exotic. I don't like any of these words. Hey, Ninfi. Add a bongo Kaz, of course, of course. Pop this bad boy on my head. There we go. I don't like any of these words. Can I not answer? I don't like any of these words. I feel like stuck is somehow, because it almost looks like a spider's web. Corruption wave, the birthing, blazing soul, destroys sense darkness within. The heck? I did get the visuals of like a wave before, so I feel like I have to go for this. I see. Next we have this one. And it looks just like an abyss to me. Depression. Twin. Shattered worlds. It looks like something's broken here. Almost looks like two worlds have collided and they've formed like an abyss. Like, it does also kind of look like an eye, but that's not the first thing that I saw. Shattered worlds. Take a look at this one. Okay. It's like a bright spark. It's like a spark in the darkness. I do feel like joy is the most relevant here. It does seem like a gateway. Light at the end of the tunnel is a great analogy for this. Dimension door. The rabbit hole. Light at the end of the tunnel. That's peculiar. How about this one? Whoa. This looks like a storm, just like something in like the pit of somebody's soul or something that's getting ready to explode. Anger. Bongo the Kaz, yes. Lightning, yeah. Darkness forming, I like that. It's like something's coming together, coalescing. And this here. What am I even looking at? I don't know what I'm looking at. It feels very sterile. I'd say numbness. Veiled. Yeah, it feels like something's like being hidden away. Old. Like mind's eye. I see. Now this one. It's like... This is so confusing. This is very hard. I'm somebody who comes from not an art background, so I don't really know what I'm looking at here. Or even how to necessarily interpret this sort of stuff. It's giving me joy vibes. Yeah, this feels like planets. I do like angelic touch. How about this? Whoa. Okay, this is very red. This is very angry. Fury. Brimstone. Shattered. Torment. And it's like, it's kind of trapped, right? It feels like it's trapped inside this, like, gem. So I feel like torment is the best word here. Rage incarnate. Interesting that you say that. What about this one here? This is just an eyeball. Very ordered. I'd say it's relaxing. Monitoring, yeah. I feel like I'm being watched. Matrix Watcher, yeah. I'll make note of that. Now this one. Joy. Womb? Bruh. They really went here, huh? Yeah, I see it, okay, but I'm not going for it. I'll go with birth, even though it's just as bad. Going down. You gonna go down on this? I like Birthplace of Dreams. Take a look at this. I feel like this is chaotic again. Broken. I love that. For some reason I like deciphering here. Huh. We're almost done. What emotion do you feel present in this picture? This is just... I didn't realize I'd have to be an art critic to play this game. It feels just like a mess. Bit depression. Melting. I like that. It's like everything's just falling apart. Sludge. I like that. Let's see here. I can't tell if this is joy or anger. Could be like the bright light in the future. It could be like something malevolent. I mean, it's almost shaped like a sword, right? Like there's the blade, there's the hilt, and there's like, sorry, the handle, there's like the hilt. I'm gonna go anger. I don't know why this is making me feel like it's something aggressive. Sword, that's what I thought when I saw it. I did also think maybe it was an angel, but I'm gonna go for the blade. My first instinct was this is a sword. Alrighty then, just a few more, okay. I think relaxation. Cosmic, yeah. The Marble of Time. Yeah. That's surprising. Almost finished. You said almost finished like 10 minutes ago, bro. Which is most present. Relaxation. This seems kind of calming. Yeah, warped. I like that. I don't chat when Kaz does this game. He's going so fast. I'm just going by like my gut instinct. Like this, I don't think there's any point like talking about it. Like I'm just looking at the image and trying to say like which one suits, like fits me. Because I feel like the more that I think about it, like the less clear my answer is going to be. Light breaking. Like with the text questions, I was talking about it, adding my own commentary. But this, I don't really know what to add because I don't have any background in this sort of stuff. They do kind of look like leaves. I'll go for that. Very good. Very good. Last one. Okay, here we go. Emotion I feel is most present. Dum, dum, dum. This one I don't actually feel anything. I guess numbness then if I don't feel anything, right? Hollow. Void. I like empty world. It's just like nothingness. That about wraps it up. Events have been documented well. Deep into your subconscious they dwell. But I'm not finished with you just yet. There are still some truths that have yet to be met. As a matter of fact, this is only the start. We will have a great deal of fun before we part. But let me challenge you on another level still. I'll pick your brain until I get my fill. This next set of questions will test your conscience more. And again, your honesty I do implore. Let's begin. Oh, here we go. So it's like a scenario. One year, you're running a little low on funds to purchase presents around the holidays. You decide to spend $1 and get everyone in your family a lottery ticket, okay? Give each of them their own ticket and wish them the best of luck. The drawing is held and one of your family members hits the jackpot, but it's someone who you don't really get along with and just bought a present for out of moral obligation. They plan to keep all the money for themselves. They feel like it was their ticket. How does that make you feel? Honestly, I'd be angry. Like, seriously? Like, you're not going to share anything with the person who bought you the ticket? Like, that's actually very disrespectful. Very well. What would you wish to do in this situation? What the heck? Like, I'd be angry, but ultimately, I don't think I would do anything. I wouldn't try and steal it, because obviously that's not going to end well for me. Destroy the ticket is just idiotic. Get them killed is, like, horrible. Let them be happy. If the roles were reversed and you were given a winning lottery ticket, would you share your money with the least favorite family member? I wouldn't share them a lot. Like, if I don't like them, I'd give them, like, 10k or something, or 20k. Like, let's say I win $20 million or something like that. Let's say I win $1 million. I give them $10,000. That's pretty reasonable. Of course. Doesn't have to be much. I could say, like, you're a piece of crap and I hate you, but here's a bit of money. Okay. Now you're walking through a forest, you come across a black suitcase. Inside the case, there rests $1 million. Alongside the money, there lies a blood-stained note with only one word on it. The note simply says, "Don't." How does this make you feel? I don't feel like any of these really capture. Scared. I think scared is probably the... I don't know. Scared or anxious? I don't know. There's like... It's much of a muchness. Honestly, if I saw this, I would think it's something like supernatural. Like it's like a cursed object or something like that. I guess scared. Because it wouldn't be necessarily what if somebody comes with money. I'd think like, when I touch this briefcase, I'm going to be like killed by a demon or something like that. What would you do? Let the police know. If there's blood there, the police probably should investigate, right? If the note wasn't covered in blood, would it change your decision at all? I don't know. Just have a piece of paper just sitting next to a suitcase with $1 million that says "don't." It makes it seem like it's some sort of test or like something like that. It's very sus. Like, even if it wasn't covered in blood, it's still a very weird situation. So I would still not trust that. Oh, okay. The devil appears. The devil appears in your room at night, while you're alone and just about to fall asleep. It tells you he has a special one-time offer for you. This should be good. In exchange for your soul and eternal damnation, he'll let you choose from one of 3 glorious bargains. He has not told you what the bargains are yet. How does this make you feel? Ah, fuck you, devil. Fuck you, Satan. The devil then goes on to assure you that whether you or not you believe him to truly be the devil, he surely is, and to prove his point, he demonstrates magnificent magical powers and drags you to hell for a split second before transporting you back to your bedroom. Your lifetime of pain and suffering in the most unimaginable ways possible. Then why would you ever take the bargain? These are the 3 bargains. Which would I choose? All the wealth and power in the world. It's only temporary, it's fleeting. You'll never age but can die from physical injury. I don't know if I want to live forever. Bring one person back from the dead. No. I would not do it. I don't think there's anything that's worth eternal damnation. No. That the devil could offer you. Either way, like, it's going to be some twisted promise, right? Like, you'll get what you want, but it's going to be in some twisted way, right? It's not going to be like a literal thing. Wokey H. What do you mean, Wokey H? Civilization is about to come to an end as a plague sweeps the globe, turning everyone who perishes into mindless zombies who hunger for living fresh. It's okay? What's okay? You watch as everyone you know becomes gravely ill and turns, except for 5 of your closest friends. How does this make you feel? The word Wokey H is okay. But why'd you say okay in the first place? Excited, bruh. How about the whole H? About the whole selling your soul to the devil. Okay, okay. I'm a little confused, but yes, I understand. You'll tell me later? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Definitely not excited. Sad or scared? Sad more than anything. Watching everybody they care turning into a zombie. If you knew that a zombie apocalypse was coming in 10 years and you could prevent it from happening, would you? If it was something that I could do, absolutely, I would try to. Interesting. What, I'm gonna let it happen? You've been working at a company for 10 years and you've been promised a very important and incredibly lucrative promotion. However, someone only hired a few weeks ago has just been promoted to the position you were promised Brer. Boss essentially tells you tough luck, and maybe you'll get the position. And you had to promote the other employee as a favor for a friend, yeah. Angry, jealous, betrayed. Yeah, I was actually thinking indifferent. It's like you see that like every workplace you work in is literally has got like stuff like this happening. Like you just have to know the right people to get the promotion. It's like, well, I guess it's my fault for not being related to that guy, you know, what can I do about it? Oh, really? You've learned a few secrets about the company that could be disastrous if there escapes, such as the fact they haven't properly reporting their income for the last decade. That's strange. I'm going to report my boss forward, quit my job and look for new employment, sabotage the new employee, nothing even to me. So I'd say I'd quit. I'd say, you know what? If you want to like play that sort of politics game, that sort of like looking after your mate's game, that's fine. I'll just go somewhere else. Like, take care. You know, good luck. Hey, Harold. The roles reversed, you were hired and promoted as a favor over someone more deserving. Would you accept the position? Hi, Maya, question mark? Hi, Maya? Maya? What? But I accept the position if the situation was reversed. It's a weird one, right? I wouldn't be the type of person who would ask, like, hey, can you do me a favor and hire me for this job? Hey, Kitsune! Thank you for the raid, goodness me. We're playing playing some Spyro. Hopefully you had some fun. We're just answering some deep philosophical questions right now. Dragon Raid, hello. Welcome. Like, I feel like I probably wouldn't end up in this situation, because I wouldn't ask somebody for a favor. Thank you for the resub. Appreciate the luck, Kitsune. Hopefully you had a really fun stream. Would I accept the position? Like, I feel like I wouldn't be hypocritical necessarily if I said yes, because it wasn't like I was like, man, I'm so mad at this person. I basically just said whatever, you know. If they got the position, they got the position. I would always feel bad if I got the position only because of who I knew, but that's just me. So you know what? I'm gonna say no. Very interesting. I don't like getting things that I haven't earned, you know. Yes, Spyro is epic. I only ever played a Spyro game on the GBA. It was pretty fun from what I remember, but it was a long time ago. But yeah, good to hear you had a good time. Oh, here we go. You're home alone at night, cooking food in your kitchen. You turn around to realize that someone is watching you through your window in the darkness. Okay. Okay. They have their face and hands pressed up against the window. They make direct eye contact before turning and running out of sight around the other side of the house. How does this make you feel? Where's like angry? Where's my baseball bat? You'd feel dead, Herald. Beat the Reignited trilogy revisiting. Ah, cool, nice. Because like here's a bit of extra context, chat. It's happened twice now in the past like couple of years where like where like literally just like a few weeks ago, and I'm not making this up. This is gonna sound like the most ridiculous story that like you've ever heard. It was like probably like close to 11 o'clock at night. It was like maybe 10:30 or something like that. And I hear like a car pulling up outside my house. And there's like a really bright light coming through the front door. So I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? And I go and look through, and it's like literally like just a semi-trailer. Like it's like bloody Optimus Prime is just like parked, not in front of, directly in front of my house, but in front of my neighbor's house. I'm just like, what the hell is happening? And so I was like just watching it for like 10 minutes, just like seeing what was happening. And it was just like, in the end, nothing came of it. The truck was gone the next day, but it was just like very weird. But I wanted to make sure that I was watching. Like I kept going back to it just to keep an eye on it because I wanted to make sure that everything was okay, and that my folks would be okay, you know, so protective. What would I do? Let's call the police. I mean, like, I feel like option 1 is like already moot for me because I wouldn't be in my house where my door wasn't locked. I'd probably check on everybody first. Like, I'll try and get everybody to be together so that, because you don't know if like that person's like done something to somebody else, right? And they're just like creeping on you now. Check if everybody's okay. If the face you saw in the window was the face of a supernatural entity and not a human being, would your answers change at all? Has the secret admirers. 2? Why are you the one? I feel like, I don't know if my answers would change. I feel like the main thing is wanting to make sure that everybody's safe. You're gonna present me with some more potential scenarios, but you're gonna ask for more simplistic answers. Okay. You're not feeling all too well. Oh. So you decide to go to the doctor. The doctor runs a series of tests and gets back to you shortly after to announce some grave news. It turns out that you've contracted an incredibly rare illness that there's no cure for. The illness causes complete body paralysis within 6 months of contraction, meaning that in less than half a year you'll be rendered unable to move, blink, talk, or any form of expression. You'll need to be kept alive on a feeding tube. You're never able to communicate with anyone else ever again, just being kept alive in machines in a vegetative state. Would I want to keep living? I would rather die. Let me die. Posture check, thank you. I'd like to spend the last 6 months of my life. The temptation is real for the last one, but just spending the time with friends and family. There are diseases out there that can put you in that sort of unfortunate situation. Does knowing this motivate you to do things you've never done before and pursue a move from life, or are you relatively unaffected by the knowledge this could potentially happen to you at any point in time? I feel like in general, like I'm a firm believer in the concept of memento mori, right? It's a Latin term, it means remember you will die. Like I know that any day could be my last, and I always try and do the best I can by everybody. I try not to leave like any conversation or anything like that on a bad note. Because you never know if it's the last time you might talk to somebody, right? I guess it does want me to, you know, to try my best and to keep working hard. So yeah. Hey, Rin! Thank you for the raid, goodness me. Welcome, welcome. What are we up to? You're playing no game? Oh, thank you for the resub. Means a lot. Good to see. Thank you, Rin. Hopefully you've been doing well. Noted. You have a pet dog whom you've raised since birth. 3 years has passed and it's the best dog you've ever had. You love it like it's your own child. And one day he runs away in the middle of the night chasing after a wild animal in the darkness. Aww. You search everywhere for your dog, but no matter what you do, you can't seem to make any progress. About a month passes, and you haven't seen any trace of your four-legged friend until one morning you awaken to the sound of familiar barking. You rush outside to find that your neighbor in his late 80s is out in his front lawn joyously playing with your dog. He's named the beast Johnny, and him and the dog seem to be having the time of their lives. You rush over to give your dog a hug, and he excitedly licks your face. Your neighbor says, Johnny's a good boy, isn't he? I lost him when I was about a boy your age, but he's come back. Johnny's come back and we're together again. Memento Mori went to Unusana's. Oh, yes. Oh, you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, that's cool. Yeah, no, I know that sometimes happens with Twitch where it, like, doesn't give you the name. Come to find out your neighbor... Oh. Your elderly neighbor is suffering from dementia, recently brought on by the stress and heartache of losing his wife just a couple months prior to finding your dog. Dementia has caused him to believe that your dog, Johnny, is his old dog from his childhood come back to life to make him happy and keep him happy. The dog seems to be in great shape, very happy and well looked after. And you know that telling the old man that it really isn't his dog and that it's your dog would break his heart and crush him. Would you break the news that it isn't his dog and take Johnny home with you, or would you let him keep the dog and choose to visit him daily to play and go for walks? Man, I've had way too many people that I know suffer from dementia. I've got a massive, like, soft spot towards people with dementia. You gotta go, Rin? No worries, take care. Misha, you'd keep the dog? Interesting. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have the heart to do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I've just had so many, like, encounters with dementia. I know how... Sometimes with dementia, it's better to just lie to the people with dementia. Like, there's no point arguing with them because it just hurts both you and them. Like, it hurts you more than it hurts them. You can keep my dog. You know, like... Okay, let me add a bit more, like, context, right? We're still gonna visit the dog. And ultimately, when the old man passes away, I'm sure we can take the dog back, but it'll help him in his, like, in his years, right? I feel like he'd have a lucid point and potentially wonder why he even has the dog at that point. Now, that's a good point, Misha, like, that you mentioned. Like, so, like, at some point, because people with dementia do have, like, days or even weeks where they're just, like, completely lucid, he'd be like, wait a minute. Like, this dog has been dead for years. What is it doing here? But then it would pass, and eventually he would just go back into, you know, his youth. But I would still just let the old man keep the dog. Does the story make you sad? Absolutely. Can you imagine yourself in the old man's position, being so alone in life and finding one thing that makes you feel less alone? Potentially having to face it being ripped away from you once again. Yeah, I can imagine that. Next question. Let's say that you were viciously murdered by a serial killer and you fell for one of their traps as they lured you and made you their latest victim. Let's say that you're given a unique opportunity to return as a spirit. However, you're bound to 1 to 2 potential options and only 2. You can haunt the assailant and make his life miserable, hopefully foiling his plans and saving lives, or you can spend your time amongst your still living family and friends, guiding them in positive ways, making their lives better. Now that's fair, Misha. Like, there's no judgment, absolutely, for that choice. I'm just saying what I would do, but I wouldn't judge somebody for doing that either. You know, as somebody who hasn't necessarily had a lot of pets, maybe it's a lot easier for me to say that I would let go of my pet. But yeah, this is an interesting question. You're bound to whichever option you choose until either your friends or family are no longer living, or the killer is no longer living. You cannot choose both. So I guess the decision is between families and strangers, like family or strangers. So do I want to help my family, or do I want to help strangers? I think I'm going to take a leaf out of Dominic Toretto's book, and family first. You think you have what it takes to drive your killer insane and push him over the edge? I don't think so. I don't think I have what it takes. Do you believe this scenario is possible? It almost sounds like the plot of like an... I could see this being the plot of like a Netflix series or something like that. Is it possible? Like, do I think that spirits can return? Yes. Do I think that there's like that strict level of conditions? I don't think so. I would say I don't think this is possible in the exact way that it's laid out. If this happened to a friend or family member that was viciously killed, what situation would you rather them choose? I would rather them make the same decision as me. Do I believe in reincarnation? No. Next question. One night you go to sleep and get a good rest that feels like the best sleep you've ever had. You wake up in an unfamiliar room, in an unfamiliar bed. You look in the mirror and hardly recognize yourself. You look as though you've aged 20 years. There's a sticky note on the television that says press play. So you oblige the note and hit the play button to reveal a message that's been left for you by all your friends and family that are still alive and well. They seem to be 20 years older as well. Oh, okay, so it's like 51st dates, okay. They explain to you that every single day for the last 20 years you've repeated the same day over and over again. Okay, this is literally just 51st dates, the plot of 51st dates. Your memory doesn't last more than 24 hours, so each day when you sleep, all the recollection is wiped entirely. Okay. They made a video to let you have a say in your potential future. You either watch the video every day so you know what's going on and progress in your life, or living in ignorant bliss. I feel like I would want to watch the video. I'd want to know what's happening, right? Because ultimately that's the ending of 51st Dates, right? Is that this is literally what he does. I feel like the first option is it's better for your family as well, because they know that they can, like, they don't have to, like, you know, they know that you're actually with them in some capacity. Yeah, I'd rather watch the video. Would you be upset if your family kept the truth for you for 20 years, even though they felt like it was for your own good? I actually don't really know what this is asking. Would I be upset if my family kept the truth from me for 20 years, even though they felt like it was for my own good? So so what's this saying is they let me live the same day for 20 years, and now all of a sudden they're like, okay, we got to do something about this. This is ridiculous. Let's make this video. I'd be a little bit upset. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd be a little bit upset. I'd make a video telling them the truth. They deserve to know the truth. If my best friend, if let's just say Luca, like, I don't want him to wake up every day and, like, you know, play StarCraft 2 thinking that he's, like, you know, not making any progress. He needs to know that he's making progress. I'll take note of your answer. You've come to find, through frantic digging in the attic and reading of old files, that your parents are famed psychologists. Okay. They aren't really your parents. They're not even related to you at all. What you can gather, a story tells of a young child who developed psychotic tendencies, went into a trance while murdering their parents in a tragically brutal way. Oh, goodness. The child suffered so much trauma from the event of the loss of their parents. Once the trance had worn off, they repressed the memory of their parents' deaths, blocking it completely from their mind. Two psychologists took the child into treatment, performed studies against the child's knowledge, raising that child to be a fully functioning adult while playing the role of the child's parents. They can further gather data and help that child avoid a terrible life in the process. You are that child. Would you resent your parents? Wait. Would I resent my birth parents? Or the psychologists? Like, how dare my parents get killed by me 20 years ago or whatever? Would I resent the psychologists? I don't think so. They're trying to give me, like, a genuinely good life. Like, for me, family is more than just, like, blood. And even if it didn't start off that they were necessarily trying to, like, be my parents, I don't think I would resent them. Would you be grateful they gave you second chance in life? I mean, what else is the other alternative? That, like, I got locked up in, like, an institution for the rest of my life? At least I had the chance, right? Did you feel betrayed by your parents? I guess betrayed that they didn't tell me? I think I couldn't help but feel a little bit betrayed, right? Like, that they didn't tell me at some point. Like, obviously they wouldn't tell you when you're like 10 years old, like, hey, by the way, you killed your real parents and we're fake. I mean, at some point they should tell you. I don't know. But I feel betrayed. I feel like betrayal is a really strong emotion. Maya and Misha wouldn't feel betrayed. Like, I would definitely feel like something. I don't know whether it would be betrayal. Like, betrayal is an extremely strong emotion. Yeah. That's true, that's true. It took me when no one else did. I'm just trying to sort my own thoughts about it. Like, I don't know if I would say betrayal is the right word for it. I think I would feel a little bit upset. Or like, you know, you could have told me at some point, like let's say I was like 30 years old now. You probably could have told me. I don't know if it would have triggered anything, but I wouldn't say I felt betrayed. Would I confront them about it? Honestly, probably not. It seems like just unnecessary conflict. I wouldn't. If you're in your parents' position, would you do the same for a child in a similar situation? Yes. Because it was a psychotic episode, it was not like the child is bad. They were just sick. And if you had the capacity to help, like you're a psychologist, right? You do have at least some capacity to help. And as a medical professional, you're under like an obligation to help. You know, to help people. I think so. Interesting. One final scenario, okay. The end of the world has come and gone. All that's left is post-apocalyptic soldiers. What the heck? Oh, this is aliens, is it? Wait, is it? Roaming the lands, coming through towns, laying waste to any survivors in the hopes of claiming their equipment for themselves. Oh no, so they're just trying to survive. It's like the leftovers of government. You're getting good with a large colony of soldiers and spend 6 months with them before they decide you're not pulling your weight to save the few food rations they have left. They exile you from the compound and send you to fend for yourself. Decide to venture into a neighboring town in the hopes of finding food that was left behind by the raiders. It only takes you a day and a half to extract gold. A hidden underground bunker stockpiled at the brim that could feed an entire colony for a year. You have a few choices to make. Would you go back to the colony and tell them about the bunker, or would you stay in the bunker by yourself? Now there's a good question. The sharing lottery money question. I feel like it's not exactly the same. But it's definitely reminiscent. The only thing that I can think of, for some reason, in my head, I'm like, if I go back and tell the colony, they're gonna shoot me and just take the food themselves. That's for some reason, that's like the scenario that's forming in my head. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if it's literally enough food for the entire colony to eat for a year, if they kill me, it's not gonna make a difference to them. So it's the idea of betrayal. Like, would I want people that fear for myself? They left me so they basically left me to die, and the question is, would I, like, help them now? Wouldn't it prove your worth? Would it? I just got lucky. In the end, like, does it really prove your worth? It just proves that you got lucky. You're pulling your weight. It's actually a really tricky one. I'm pretty torn here. Like, I feel like I wouldn't feel right if I just kept it for myself, knowing that it could help a lot of other people in that case. Like, what am I going to do with a year's worth of food? I'm going to... It'll probably go bad before I can, like, even eat it all. And there's no guarantee that, like, if they come rolling around again and they find me, they're not just going to shoot me and take the food. I think I would tell them. I feel like I'd feel bad if I didn't. Ah, here we go. If you could choose to tell only some of the soldiers and let them in so you could lead a new colony, but exile the soldiers who exiled you, would you do it? Now this is really good stuff. I guess the big question is, like the main thing is, like, everyone's just trying to survive. They made a decision that they thought was rational at the time by exiling me. Like, they genuinely believed that kicking me out of the group would increase their chances of survival. It's not like they were being malicious, they were just thinking rationally. I guess in a way, I feel like not exiling those people is a bigger, like, sign to them, you know? Like, it'd be very petty and, like, vengeful to say, like, you know, you kicked me out, now you're kicked out. But at the same time, I feel like it's almost stronger to show, like, mercy or compassion. Like, if you show mercy and compassion in the face of, like, that sort of hatred and stuff like that, that's, like, the biggest thing you can do to that person. It completely destroys their view. No, I wouldn't do it. Obviously, I just finished giving a speech about compassion, so obviously I'm going to say sharing compassion. If you were the leader of the colony that exiled you, except it was you who exiled someone who wasn't pulling their weight, that person just happened to find a similar situation, they refused to share with your colony, would you raid them and steal yourselves and let them keep what they found? This is now another layer. Because now this is a mirror of the lottery question, Maya. Because the colony is the family. And the person who found the bunker now is the person who got the lottery ticket. Because of my choice to exile them, or in the other case, my choice to give them a $1 lottery ticket. But I feel like the context is different. Like, this isn't just about money, this is about literally, like, survival for potentially thousands of people. Like, as the leader, of the colony, though, it's a different situation, though, again, because as the leader of the colony, I've got a responsibility to the people who I'm leading to keep them safe, to keep them alive. And I know they're not going to be too happy about me just saying, you know, this one person can have a year's worth of food. They would be, like, outraged. I feel like as a leader, you did exile this person. I mean, I guess in the end, what did I expect? That's a good point. This is probably the toughest question in, like, the entire, like, series. Because it's not an exact mirror of the lottery question, because it's not just me that's at stake. It's like everybody. Like, say there's 1,000 people in the colony. I'd be literally choosing the needs, or the desire of one person over the needs of 1,000. No, I think as a leader, you need to take it. I might be being a hypocrite here, but I feel like it's the questions become bigger than just like than all that other stuff. Alright, this wraps up this portion of the test. Oh, there's more, but I need more from you to allow before I allow you to rest. A choice here, a choice there. Which would you rather? Oh, would you rather? Yes. Moral dilemmas abound, from what I can gather. And your answer clearly, crisp and concise. Will you be selfish, or is your conscience advice? Just mere moments from now, we both shall see the difference between who you are and who you wish to be. Okay, let us begin. Would you rather abandon the person you love most, or be abandoned? I would rather be abandoned. Would you rather have friends in high places who could get you anything that they want, or but didn't care about you, or friends who couldn't give you anything but they feel a deep personal bond with you? I feel like I already have the second one, and I'm pretty happy with that. So, would you rather find $10,000 and get to keep it for yourself, or find 20k but have to split it 4 ways with your closest friends and family? I mean, I'm you might not know this, but I'm a numbers guy. From a purely mathematical perspective, the second option is better because you're literally like 5k is already pretty good, and it's literally just more money. Let's say you were like, I'm gonna spend the money on a holiday. You could have a $10,000 holiday, or you can have a $20,000 holiday with friends. You know, 20,000. Would you rather cheat on your partner but never get caught, or know that your partner cheated on you but have no way of proving it? Far out, that's tough. That is deep. I couldn't live with the guilt if I did the first one, I feel like. I mean, there's like a certain level of plausible deniability that you can make in your head where it's like, I really genuinely believe this happened, but I can't prove it. So on a certain level, it's like, did it actually happen? I mean, it'd sort of be like gaslighting yourself, I suppose, but you could believe that nothing happened. I'd probably rather this. Would you rather get rich through illegal means or be poor but live an honest life? I mean, how much is money really worth? It's only worth stuff, you know, for as long as you're alive for. I'd rather live honestly. Oh my god. Would you rather press a button that would kill your favorite pet, or press a button that would kill your favorite family member? I know, like, look, and I know there's a lot of pet lovers in this call, but family has to come before pets. Like, I don't even think this is really much of a discussion. Like, I know, like, some people like the company of animals more than humans, but it's like, yeah, pet. Would you rather get fired from a high-paying job or have to fire your friends from a high-paying job? I don't think I could actually handle the pressure of firing somebody, so I think I just have to, by default, pick that first one. Yikes. Oh no. You'd rather sleep with your step-sibling or sleep with your best friend's partner. Oh. One of these is like these are both bad. These are both bad, don't get me wrong. However, this option is like, not only are you doing something wrong, but you're actively like doing something that's bad for somebody else too. You're potentially ruining that relationship. With this one, it's like, maybe illegal? Is it illegal? I think it might be illegal. But gross. Like it's still gross to think about this, but I feel like the pain that you could potentially, in Alabama, no, in Alabama you're allowed to have it with your actual siblings, not your step sibling. So step sibling means like, let's say, you're you're like, let's say one of your parents is deceased, one of your parents has passed away, and your parent that remains marries somebody else, and that person has a daughter, let's say. So you're not actually, yeah, you're not actually related. I feel like, as gross as this is, it's still preferable. Yeah, like I don't think it's that. Would you rather save your best friend for certain death and let 1,000 strangers die, or save 1,000 strangers and let your best friend die? Or tram question? Gotta save my homie. But 1,000 people, it's a lot of people. Oh, it's the trolley problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you meant to say tram. Okay, Tram. Yeah. Most of them could be terrible people. Yeah, but I guess it's like utilitarianism, right? Is it, what is one person's life worth? Is one person's life, just because they have a connection with you, worth 1,000? You'd kill the 1K? Yeah, your friend could be a terrible person, but you like them, so you excuse their terrible behavior. Because I won't see them later. Hey, what do you mean you won't see them later? What does that mean? Oh, the strangers, you mean? Yeah, yeah. If you save the 1K but they care about you later, they might. What if Bill Gates is in the 1,000 people? You think he's not going to give you like a couple of like 50K or something like that? You're always the villain. But if Bill Gates dies, we're all going to have to get Apple products, Maya. Think about that. It was here when you had breakdowns. You know what? That's a good point. Man, this is tricky. I don't know if I, in good conscience, say him suddenly all chummy. What if it's Jeff Bezos? He can guarantee that you'll get your deliveries the next day for the rest of your life. um, man, Yelp bargains to the crowd. I guess I'll try a position swap. If somebody had to make this choice where I'm the friend, I would not want to live with myself if I knew that because I got to live 1,000 people died. Imagine the survivor's guilt for your friend. Would they live with that? Like, it might be okay for you to live with the decision, like, you know what you did, but for that person, they would have survivor's guilt for the rest of their life. They think, like, why did I live when 1,000 people had to die? Unless they're a psychopath, of course. Then it's not a problem. I don't think in good conscience I can let 1,000 people die. Would you rather get free food for the rest of your life or rescue a starving child from a third world country? I know I'm gonna die. Free food for the rest of my life. What does the second option even mean? What is it? Like, I'm genuinely confused by the terms here. Rescue a starving child from a third world country. Like, what does that mean? Do I bring them here? They live in my house? Because, like, wait, think about this. If you have free food for the rest of your life, you can give that food away, no? Is it literally just enough food for you? Third world country child. Like, I don't really get the terms of this question. Like, what does it actually mean to rescue a starving child from a third world country? Like, they become my, like, obligation? Like, genuinely. Like, what does this actually mean? Like, because if it was like, I get all the food, or they get all the food, I give it to them. They can have it. I can look after myself for food. But, like, I don't necessarily want to adopt a child right now in my life. I'm not exactly in a position to look after them. Like, I don't really know. I'm gonna go free food because I can use that to feed people here. I don't know what rescuing this child actually means, so I'll take the food. Would you rather be rich but without family or poor but with family? Poor but with family. Would you rather have to steal food for the rest of your life? Steal food for the rest of my life to eat, or steal enormous amounts of money from the wealthy but have to destroy the money immediately after? Huh? I don't get it. What does this actually mean? What's the point of doing the second option? What does this actually achieve? Like, is it funny? Am I just like I'm becoming a communist? You're gonna get some sleep. No worries, kid. Take care. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. And thanks again for the raid and the resub as well. Means a lot. You know, I like the idea of being Robin Hood. Or would you rather serve 4 years in the military during wartime or move to a third world country and never be allowed to return home? Thank you, kid. Take care. Alright, I need to ask somebody to chat this question. Maya. Yeah, I was gonna say, can I move there? I am... I wouldn't say I'm a pacifist. I recognize that there are times when fighting is, like, necessary and perhaps even righteous. But as an individual, I would personally never serve in the military. So I would choose the second option. Would you rather always be traveling 10 miles above the speed limit or below? Below, absolutely. Was the military the army? Would you rather never have Monka S for the rest of your life, have Monka S every day in order to stay alive? This is very strange. This is a very... Never heard of it. Answer honestly now. Would I rather? Oh god. Yeah. I don't know. Because the only issue is, like, as of right now, I don't necessarily have somebody that I could do that with. And I don't like the idea of, like, doing, like, you know, one night stands or something like that. Like, that to me is, like, not a good thing. If I had somebody that, you know, was with me right now that, you know. Wah. Let your inner blood speak. This is definitely a Monka-esque question. What would I rather? I don't know. Look at the answers. Never again. or every day. Come on, blood rushing to one area down below. Yeah, it's never again or every day. I think I would probably rather this. Yes, let's go with that. Oh. You'd rather be addicted to hardcore drugs for 10 years, make a full recovery, addicted to alcohol for the rest of your life. Man, I don't like either of these. I don't drink or do drugs. I mean, either way, like, you're shortening your lifespan probably pretty significantly. Alcohol will be your choice. Because you die slower. Yeah, I can't vibe with the first option. So I have to go with the second one. Would you rather live to be 200 years old and a perfectly preserved youthful body and have to watch your friends and family die, live to be 70 but die before your friends and family? I think I would rather... I don't know if I want to watch everybody die. I feel like most people probably take the second option. A lot of people probably wouldn't want to take the first option. So. Would you rather sacrifice all your friends to survive? Or sacrifice both of your parents? Shit. Your friends you can make more. Wow. You'll live for 200 years, Harold. This isn't right, man. You can't make more parents. How do I want to approach this? Do I want to approach this from a logical perspective or from an emotional perspective? You give me a peace sign when you rest in peace. Okay. Let's think about this. All of your friends. From a pure numbers point of view, it doesn't make sense necessarily to sacrifice all your friends. Yeah, I'm sort of leaning towards that. I think it's not that I'm leaning towards it, I'm just considering at this stage. So I'm still thinking. But like, my parents have done, you know, all this stuff for me and stuff like that. They would probably be willing to sacrifice for me, right? You would think. Like, I would rather not sacrifice anybody. I'd be happy to die if this was a problem. Choose your past or your future. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, they would probably choose this themselves, right? From a purely, like, numbers standpoint as well, one group is obviously a lot older than the other. Shit. But I mean, what would Dominic Toretto say, right? What would Dominic Toretto say? Family's everything. But then his friends are like part of his family, right? Like, think about it. He's not related to half the people in the cast, but he says they're his family. I think I'll go with this. I'll go with parents, I think. It is... You are right, I think mine's saying that it's a choice between past and future. Yeah, I think we go with this. Would you rather get acknowledged for work you didn't do or work hard for the rest of your life but never receive any praise for it? In my profession, it's often already the bottom part, so I would rather work. I don't want acknowledgement and praise. I'm happy to not get it. Would you rather punch a nun or get punched by a nun? Get punched by a nun. Would you rather lose all the money you've earned this year or lose all the memories you've gained this year? Money, 100%. Oh, I like these ones. Would you rather flip a coin for a chance to win 20 or immediately win 10? I'd keep the guaranteed 10. The cost benefit here is like, like it's like neutral for me because either I gain like let's bring out the math brain. I either get 10 and the opportunity cost is 10, or I flip for 20 and I either lose 10 or get 10. Like, it's not worth it in my book. You get a guaranteed 10 or you get a risky 20. If it was like 10 or 100, I would think like, okay, I would go for the 100. Because it's 10 times, like, the risk is, I'm getting 10 times my return. I don't gamble either, but I'm just trying to think of this like a gambler. I think I'll keep the guaranteed 10. I don't know how you'll die or when you'll die. I do not want either of these. I do not want either of these. I feel like how is going to be much more traumatic. Because, like, let's say that it tells you you're going to get run over by a car. Every time that a car comes near you, you will be terrified. You'll be thinking, is this it? Every time a car, like, comes near you, you'll be thinking, is this the one that kills me? I feel like when is stressful, but at least it's certain. How is stressful and uncertain. So when? Would you rather be blind, be able to see crystal clear underwater, or be deaf always? I think deaf. For me, vision is much too important. Would you rather give up all the internet and social media, but to be able to travel the world for free? Or the best internet in the world for free, but never leave your house, never leave my house? Would you rather walk barefoot across a bed of hot coals or walk barefoot through a pitch black snake-infested corridor? Coals, I think. People walk on hot coals all the time, but the snake seems like dangerous. Would you rather be the judge who sentences people to death or the executioner in charge of killing them? Like, there's a degree of detachment, right, if you're the judge. You're not killing people. You're just passing judgment. Whereas if you're the executioner, you're killing people without judging them. I feel like I'd rather be the judge. Like, I don't have the stomach to kill somebody, even if they deserve it. I'd be a judge. Would you rather have a witch cast a nasty hex on you so you'll have bad luck or be haunted by a demon in 10 possessing you? I'd rather have the hex, I think. Oh. Would you rather be married to somebody incredibly beautiful who doesn't find you attractive? Or be married to someone whom you're not remotely attracted to, but they find you incredibly attractive? So I guess the thing is, like, would you rather be massively in love or be massively loved? Oh, no. Married to someone who's not attracted to me. Marry someone I'm not attracted to. Because I guess this comes down to, like, would you rather that you're happy and they're unhappy? Or they're happy but you're unhappy? Damn, this is a good would you rather. I think I would rather them be happy and I'm content with them. Would you rather work a high-paying job that you despise or a low-paying job that you love doing? You can argue I already do the bottom one, so I guess I'll keep doing that. Would you rather walk 1 mile home wearing nothing but a pair of socks or be fully clothed after walk 100 miles to get home? 100 miles is a long distance, right? Miles to kilometer. What is that? What is 1 mile is 1.6 Ks, 100 miles is 160 Ks. I think 1K. It's like, it's not even 2 kilometers. It's not that far. Like, I'm sure you'd be okay. Sing and entertain yourself through the way. I don't think you realize how much 100 miles is, Maya. It's a long distance. Like, you couldn't, I don't think you could walk it in a day. It'd probably take you like a couple days. I'd rather do the 1 mile. Would you rather find $5 in your pocket or grab 100 out of a public toilet? I can always wash it. Would you rather have 100 favorite books but never watch a movie again, or have 100 favorite movies but never read a book again? I'd give up books for movies. I don't really read anymore. Would you rather be 20 minutes late or 2 hours early? 2 hours early, 100%. I hate being late. Would you rather find a dead body or be a witness to a deadly assault? Wait, what? It would take 50 hours to walk 100 miles? Jeez. I think I'd rather find a dead body, because like, if you're witnessing the assault, I feel like there's more danger to you as a person, so finding the dead body is less risk. Would you rather be able to change your past to see what your future holds? There are some like crappy decisions I've made. I'd rather change my past. Would you rather have one really great friend or 100 mediocre friends? Easy, one great friend. Would you rather lose all your teeth or lose one day every time you kissed someone? I would lose all my teeth. Would you rather win the lottery and lose the ticket before you can collect your money, or see your worst enemy win the lottery? Oh, how petty am I? Yeah, you can get dentures, exactly. You can find the ticket. I think the implication is that you're not going to be able to find the ticket. You'd rather see your worst enemy win? I think I would feel worse if I won and then lost the ticket than if my worst enemy won. It would feel worse to me. I was so close and I lost it. Your own worst enemy is yourself. Yeah, they can take the money. True love or your dream job? True love. You'd rather have a pause button on your life or a rewind button? It's like The Click, the Adam Sandler movie. It's one of my favorite films that he made. What does a pause button do? So it's, you can freeze time. Pause. Rewind. You can stay in your happiest moments for a bit longer. I feel like I'd choose rewind. How much do I want to dwell on my past? I don't really want to dwell on my past that much. So I feel like with this, if we're sticking to the analogy of like a videotape, if you're rewinding, I don't think you necessarily get the chance to change it. You just get to relive it. So you just go through exactly what you've already been through. So it's like, do you want to reminisce on the past or focus on the present? I think I'd rather the pause button now that I think about it like that. Would you rather drown to death in gasoline or be boiled to death in water? I mean, one of these methods of death. I mean, they're both pretty slow kills, I think, Maya. Like, like, with drowning, realistically, you die in like 3 minutes, right? I think that's about as long as a human can survive without air. With boiling, you could survive for a lot longer than that. I feel like the substance it happens in almost doesn't matter. I feel like drowning is less painful, so I'll go with that. Would you rather make a new friend every day or get $100 for doing nothing but never have friends again? Oh, come on. I mean, this second option is kind of tempting, I'll be honest. That's 1,400 a fortnight for doing nothing. That's on top of potentially getting paid for work. The thing is, I don't want to make a new friend every day. Like, I don't want to make a new friend every day. Like, you're telling me that, like, let's say I'm going to live for like another 50 years. Let's say. Let's say I'm going to live for another 50 years, okay? Let's just assume. 50 times 365. You're telling me that over the course of the rest of my life, I'm going to make 182,500 more friends. I cannot handle that. Not handle that many people. I'll take the money. Would you rather give your life to save your family or sacrifice your family to save your own life? I would rather die. Would you rather be hated for something you didn't do or hurt everyone without being blamed? I'd rather be hated for something I didn't do. Would you rather sleep with your own worst enemy or sleep with someone who you know has many incurable STDs? Ooh. So the question is, would you rather like brief discomfort and pain versus long term? I think I don't really want the... Oh, this is the easiest decision of my life. Would you only eat food you dislike or give up all liquids except water? I mostly only drink water anyway, so easy. Would you rather listen to music at max volume or listen to music just above the lowest volume? I feel like max volume is bad for your ears. Would you rather meet your hero, find that they don't like you, or never meet your hero at all? I'd rather never meet my hero. Would you rather never have pets or never have friends? Never have pets. Would you rather live in excruciating pain for the rest of your life or live pain-free but everyone you know and love? I'll take the pain. Thank you for answering my questions, but we're not yet done. Are you serious? We've made it through many categories except for one. These final questions will be from deep within. I want to see your soul. I want to see your heartbeat quicken. I want to learn all that you know. I want to see what makes you think. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know your darkest truths. I want to know what makes you sick. I want to expel the truth from yourself. I want to feed on your precious fate. I want to learn all of all your love and bathe in all your hate. The one last time we sit together as we wait the final revelation. That's the name of the game. These are the last questions I have for the last examination. Take your time, do think hard. Savor every moment dearly. But when I'm finally finished with you, you will see it all ever so clearly. And here we go. Choose one of these words that you feel resonates with you most in this very moment. I guess unclean, I'm kind of sweet. Choose one of these words you feel resonates with you most. I feel pretty inquisitive right now. You know, I'm interested. Do you ever lie to those who are closest to you? Yes, I feel like we all do. Have you ever heard someone... Wait, these questions were already asked. In a previous game. Have you ever lost your temper you know you shouldn't have? Yeah. Have you ever intentionally hurt an animal? Not intentionally, no. Have someone for something that you know they didn't do? Yeah, I'm sure I have. Have you ever abandoned a pet? I have not. Have Have you ever abandoned a loved one in their time of need? The time of need. What does that actually imply? I'm gonna say yes, just because I'm not sure exactly what it means. Have you ever stolen something from someone you cared about? I don't believe so. Have you ever broken something to spite someone you cared about? I've broken stuff that I care about in, like, rage. And I'm like, why did I do that? I don't think I've broken something that somebody else had. Have you ever played the victim in a situation even though you hadn't been wronged? I'm sure I have at some point. Have you ever had romantic feelings for someone who wasn't your partner while you were in a relationship? I'll be honest, yes. Have you ever wished for the death of someone who had wronged you? Yes, I have. Have you ever wished for the death of a loved one? No. You knew that writing someone's name on a paper could instantly cause their death. Would you write anyone's name? No. You feel like you'd spend more time with your loved ones than you currently do? Yes. Have you ever owed someone an apology but refused to apologize to them? I feel like I've always apologized in the end. You ever regret worrying too much about things you can't control? Yeah. You ever feel like your negativity brings other people down? Yes, it does. You regret not standing up for yourself when you feel you've been wronged? Yes. You feel like you let others influence your decision making too much? Yes. You wish you had lived a more honest life? I guess so. Has your dishonesty ever caused someone else to suffer? Not that I can think of. Kaz Yagami. I'll just say yes, because I feel like I probably have. Have you ever had someone leave your life before you had the chance to tell them something important? Not that I can recall. Do you ever feel like you prioritize people in your life that are unworthy of your time? I think I have in the past, so under the pretense of ever, yes I have. Do you feel like you prioritize your own wants before those who need you the most? I don't think so. Do you ever feel like you spend too much time working towards something you're not truly passionate about? No, I don't think so. Do you feel like you're living up to your full potential? Definitely not. Do you ever let your fears stop you from pursuing things that you truly want? Yeah. For example, fear of travel. You ever refuse to try something because you're afraid that you would fail? Have I? Can't think of any specific examples, to be honest, but that's not to say that it's not true. I honestly can't think of anything, so no. Yes. Have I ever been attracted to someone with who's alone? No, because you're afraid of being rejected. Yeah. Feels like you're chasing the wrong things in life. I don't think so. I feel like you spend so much time planning from the future that you ignore the present. I do, actually. This is one of my biggest faults. I think too much about the future. You feel like your friends and family like you more than you like them. No, I don't feel that way. Have you ever loved a pet more than your family? No. Do you make up excuses to get out of going to an event instead of just telling the person you don't want to go? Yeah. Do you spend more time with technology than you do building stronger bonds with your friends and family? But I feel like they're like, it's like one and the same, because a lot of my friends are people that I know through technology. So I don't feel like this is like a bad thing, but yes, I guess. Have you ever defended someone that you shouldn't have? Probably. Like we all stick up for our friends even if they're in the wrong, like on occasion. So yeah. You have a hard time admitting them when you're wrong. I feel like I might like be slow to admit that I'm wrong, but I will always in the end probably admit that I'm wrong. I wouldn't say I have a hard time doing it. You ever place the blame of your personal failures on someone or something else? I'm pretty much always saying it's like, it's my fault. Have you ever accused someone of something with no real evidence to back it up? Yes. I mean, like, it says real evidence, right? So, like, no concrete evidence. Even if you have strong suspicions or, like, you know, what's the word? Circumstantial evidence, yes. I've not done this. Go ahead and something you know you shouldn't have. No. No. But yes, I could take better care of my own health. Someone take the blame for something that you did. I'm pretty sure at some point, like, my sister took the blame for something that I did, so probably. Have you ever acquired something you didn't really want because someone else wanted it? No, I'm not that petty. You feel like you're not living up to others' expectations? Yes. Have you ever walked out of someone's life explanation? I did this a few years ago. I've told the story a few times, but like when I was doing my final like years of study, I literally like disappeared from like all my friends' lives for like 2 years. So I have done this. Yes, this is one of my big faults, I feel like. If I witnessed someone being wrong, didn't have the courage to stand up for them, yeah. And finally, you feel like you're a good person. No, I don't. I don't feel like I'm a good person. I'm trying to be good, I'm trying to be better, but I don't feel like right now I can say I'm a good person. Very interesting. This concludes the ending to your examination. In your mind, I've dug myself a hole. Hey, you know, you're just in time to get the final judgment. I will analyze your answers very carefully, and now it's time for me to gaze into your soul. This is preposterous. This simply cannot be, huh? I've expected every potential outcome, but yours seems to have evaded even me. I was prepared to tell you your fate, to play upon your fear, to break the worst of news to you, to plant seeds of doubt within your ear. As I've asked you to be honest with me, I must in turn be honest with you. For as much as I want to lie, I'm forever shackled to the truth. From what I can deduct from deep within, from everything you've shared with me, in return I shall share this with you. This is what I see. One word describes you more than any other. Right, here we go. So we had talented, self-care, and now what's this one? Talented! Hey, we're talented again! I think you're more talented than you realize. You're more talented than anyone else realizes as well. If you just spend a little less time in your own head, you might get a lot further. You're by far your own worst enemy. You need to cut that shit out and start trusting your natural talents and abilities more. No one knows you better than you. You must pay heed to this warning. You're way too overcritical for yourself. At times it can lead to you breaking yourself down way further than you ever should, bruh. If you're not careful, you can ruin your entire potential just to be successful just by not paying attention when you need to self-reflect. And when you need to give yourself the credit you deserve. Start being more positive, you'll do just fine. Wah, wah, wah. The secret word is talented. Remember this word. It'll come in handy. Don't harm me. You received the ending that you've already received before previous examinations. Remember, we did not ask your secret words prior to taking this test. That should be very telling. It means something very special. What does it mean? If your result was the same as something you got previously, we'd like you to add the phrase twin words next to your secret word in the comments. If you received an entirely new outcome that just means you've got multiple layers of things to work on in your journey. Or you may just have an extra layer of depth to your personality, but only you will have the answer to that. I mean, I guess it means that my answers are consistent, right? Like, the fact that I got the same result in the first test and the third test means that there's a level of consistency. You've answered hundreds of questions, you found deeper meanings. You've been enlightened, you've helped others find enlightenment. Many people have wondered just what the test series is truly about. But it's simple. The answers are always so much more simple than we believe them to be. You get different ones on each of them. The test is about you. The reflection in your darkened screen, the one who seeks the answers. The person who seeks answers. More than being about the answers, the test is more so about the questions. It's about making you think. It's about encouraging you to open up and admit you're human. Or a cat in my case. Just as human as everyone else, or a cat. The test is about unity. The test is about compassion. This is about bringing people together and showing the world that we're not so different after all. Look at all the secret words that have been left in the comments. Look at all the thousands of people who are just like you. We all feel so lonely at times. Sometimes, sorry. We all feel flawed. We all feel pain. But that's because every single one of us is human. The world judges one another based on so many variables, but they're the most hypocritical set of variables imaginable. We judge each other and are judged ourselves by our peers who do the same exact stuff that they judge us for in the end. And that we judge them for too. You feel flawed because you are flawed. You feel afraid because you have the right to be. You feel overwhelmed because the world is overwhelming. Depression is overwhelming. Anxiety is overwhelming. Our problems are overwhelming. That stuff is an epidemic. We are losing loved ones before their time, and any one of us can fall on the hardest of times in our lives at any given moment. We can lose everything we know and love instantly and unexpectedly. But one thing that we are not is alone. You are never alone. We're all flawed because we're all human. We're all scared because we're all human. We all fight these battles every single day because we're all human. You never have to feel alone in your fight. Look at all the secret words that have been gathered that match yours. Look at all the words that don't match yours. Perhaps those people are going through struggles that you have yet to experience or know nothing about. And perhaps some others know not of yours either. But don't judge those who are struggling. Help them, just as you'd wish to be helped in your time of need. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and reach out to those who are. Everyone is suffering. Some of us just suffer quieter than others, that's true. We're all in this together. The test series has helped bring so many people together and make so many people feel less alone. There's the Kaz crying emote, Maya. You can use this for now. We've read your comments, and others are free to do so as well. We've read about how these games helped you. We've read about how much positivity they've spread. We've read how many people say their lives are forever changed, and I'll tell you one thing. If even one life was saved in the process of this social experiment, then it was worth conducting. And every single one of you that left a comment is a hero. By leaving comments, you help spread the message out to others. You help spread a positive light in a very dark time for so many people, and those people have thanked you for it. Have you to thank for it. There are so many people in this world who do nothing for others, and they'll continue to do nothing for others. They won't lift a finger to help others around them because they don't understand that someone is suffering just as much as they are. They're just too afraid to open up about it. But not us. We've all opened up quite a lot, haven't we? We were brave enough to answer these questions that so many people fear admitting to. We were brave enough to take a chance and leave our secret word as a symbol of our participation. And for that, Random Studios would like to thank you by not only placing your name in the credits at the end of this game so that the world knows of your good deeds and spreading the word and participating, we've also got another surprise for you. Everyone who's left a comment on our titles and continues to do so on future titles will be put in the credits of our new massive project we've been working on, but that's not the good part. We're going through and selecting names for those who leave comments on all of our titles and putting their names right into the actual game and storyline, whether it's a special item, piece of lore, character, and much more. That's cool. You've contributed your time and energy to help others in need. You want to make sure you're commemorated for your efforts and get the admiration you deserve. That's really cool of them. Now, as far as your secret words go, your secret words will play a pivotal role in our new project. You'll plug your secret words into different parts of the journey when they're requested of you, and they'll alter the game in a way uniquely set for your specific words. That's really cool. It's an RPG where every choice matters, every decision you make. Changes something about your session. Okay, you should be very cautious about saying every choice matters. This is going to turn into Mass Effect 3. An RPG that focuses on human emotion and the decisions we make, and how those decisions make us feel. Keep an eye on the future for our main project, Chasing Demons, where every NPC from all of our titles will be represented with a storyline, and the world will get to see how they all tie in together. You helped shape it, you helped make it what it is, and we'll be sure to continue to add more players into the lore and gameplay as we read more and more comments left on our titles all the way up until its official release. And again, to commemorate those who participated across all our titles, we'll be periodically selecting names from all of our titles. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and everything you continue to do for the world. We greatly appreciate your feedback and support. We've read every single review and comment left for us. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for playing, and thank you for contributing your secret words to our projects. A word from the developers: if any of these games even saved one life, it was all worth it. That means you're part of that. You're part of saving someone's life. Most people will live their entire lives never having done something special like that. Even if you didn't particularly find anything useful from this test series, just by spreading the word, you've helped others who do find something beneficial. Thank you for spreading the word and helping those find it. Some people live their entire lives selfishly, never lifting a finger to help someone unless it personally benefits themselves. I'm sure you met some people like that, and that's okay. There's a place for all types of people in our world. We need more people like that to create balance. We need the selfish with the selfless. We need the good with the bad, the happiness with the sadness. We need it all in order to appreciate what we have and what we don't have. But these games have helped people, and that means you've helped people. If you left a comment, you were part of this. If you continue to leave comments, you continue to be part of this. If you share this, you've helped someone. If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself and read some of the words people have left for the rest of the world to see. Look at the joy, positivity you've helped spread in such a dark time. People are sick and dying. People are separated by both difference and indifference. The one thing we all have in common is we're all human inside. No matter where we come from, how we grew up, what we've been through, what our opinions and preferences are, what we enjoy, what we dislike, how we judge and are judged, in the end we're all human, we all feel. We all have the same thoughts, same feelings and emotions, and each and every person has their own lives. Each person is the center of their own universe. Every individual has their own family, friends, circle. They mean something to the world. They mean something to someone, even when they feel like they don't. They do. Trust me, you do. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for encouraging other people to be a part of this. Thank you for spreading something so uniting in a divisive world. Thank you for opening up your heart and your mind to create acceptance, not only for everyone else, but for yourself as well. Even in our differences, we aren't so different after all, and we're in this world together. Let's make it a happy stay for everyone. Oh, Maya. Well, thank you for sharing this with me, Maya. See, they were talking to you. Yo, we'd like to give a special shout out to Markiplier and his community for supporting us throughout the titles. Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier. Welcome to the Test Final Revolution. It has really meant so much to us as longtime fans, and the amount of joy you bring to the rest of the world through your content and your community support is second to none. Thank you for being you. We hope you get to punch a nun at some point in the near future. We want to wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, and may your life be flooded with the happiness you deserve. Ah! I skipped something. I believe you'll love the playstyle of the testing chamber, as it takes everything the predecessors offered to an unprecedented degree. The test chamber. I mean, I'll definitely give it some thought. Meantime, we'd like you to recommend the title The Advisor. You, the player, are responsible for how the story is written in future episodes. Okay. Thank you for listening as we pour our hearts into our passion projects. We put a lot of time and effort into what we build. We want the same thing that everyone wants in life. Chance. Keep a hold of your secret words. You're going to need them from when you're chasing demons. Oh. I will peel the truth from your flesh like petals from a blackened rose. He loves me. What? Don't do this. What's happening? loves me not. He loves me. Please, I beg of you. Easter egg. He loves me not. Gah. Loves me. Loves me not. We will never love a monster like you. Let her choice take its toll. And in her cell, A. G. Rot. Okay. Oh, why are you giving me the Markiplier message again? Okay, here's the credits. Yes, yes, yes. That was it was a very strange little post-credit scene there. I didn't really understand that, but okay. I would not like to see the list. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna close the game because the music is like quite horrific. That was really good. That was probably my favorite one of the three. With the most variety, most discussion. The second one was definitely not the best one. I think my order is the third one, the first one, then the second one. The second was just too short. This one was really good. It ended up being a lot longer than I thought. But then again, it did take some time on some of the questions, so but it's really good. Oh no, Maya. I was gonna play some probably Pokemon or something after, but I feel like we've had a good enough stream length. Like if it went for about an hour and a bit, I would probably do something else. But I feel like we've gotten to a good point. I feel like I'm happy to wrap it up there. Besides, I am streaming again later, so we'll wrap it up there. So thank you for joining me on this journey through the test games, and hopefully we'll have some more interesting stuff to come. So feel free to drop suggestions for what we play next time. And until then, I'll see you then. Bye bye.